So, the Philippines is a country located in Southeast Asia. It's a bunch of little islands that have a very humid and a tropical climate. I think it's a really comparable to Florida's climate, where it just kind of rains at any given point throughout the day. And they experience a lot of tropical storms there. So, hurricane season there is literally every season. The Philippines was ruled underneath Spain for 300 years, which you are able to see that influence throughout various foods and languages. According to Michigan.com, they say during World War II, the Japanese occupied the country, and in 1946, the Philippines gained independence. So, the Filipino culture practices very heavy Christian values. According to AsianSociety.org, more than 86% of the population is Roman Catholic. I can say that for my mother and her family, that religion is very important in their life. And it is very important that the kids that they raised are also raised in a Catholic household. They are very involved in the church, and you can see religion throughout the practices in their life and through just everything that they do. It is also very common for a Filipino household to hold religious objects showcasing their devotion to the church. I have visited the Philippines at least 2 times in my life, and each time it has left me more culturally shocked. It is a lot different than America in the sense that I feel it is very chaotic, like kind of like a disorganized New York. I would describe the most populated in their like capital cities. Their main source of transportation is motorcycles, which I find to be so exciting to ride on with my uncles, especially throughout like the mountains and stuff. It makes it really pretty, and like I don't think I'd ever get the opportunity to ride on a motorcycle here, so there it's really cool since it's their main source of transportation. But the reason they ride these motorcycles is because the streets are just so filled with people at these open markets just walking that it's so hard to navigate a big car through there, so that's why they use motorcycles. What is very different, though, is that there are not a lot of police when it comes to crime as there is in America. There are many bad places that are unsafe for mostly white Americans, as they can be at a higher risk for violent crimes and kidnapping. In an article by TravelSafeState.gov, they say terrorists and armed groups have carried out kidnappings, bombings, and other attacks targeting public areas like tourist sites. So I say basically for people who are any race except Filipino going there is you're definitely going to have to be more alert than you are just walking down the street here, because there are terrible people down there that will do that. I don't know why. But food is one of the best pros about having a Filipino mom. I'm so happy that at a young age I was introduced to all these different kind of foods, because now if they were put in front of me and I had never tried them before, I would absolutely never. But now that I've tried just about anything she's put in front of me, I'm really not scared to try new foods. A favorite dish of mine and all my friends have been lumpia rolls. There are different variations to this dish, but my mom makes it very simple, and I think it is amazing that way. It is a lot similar to an egg roll, but lumpia rolls, they're much smaller, and the ones my mom makes only contain ground beef, potatoes, carrots, and then of course you dip that in soy sauce. And my mom makes these in such large batches that they will be gone within an hour, even if she makes like several plates of them. They're so easy to make, so if I had to recommend one dish to introduce the culture, it would be lumpia rolls. When it comes to school, it is set up the same way as America. These public schools are funded by the government, and of course, the Philippines isn't as economically advanced as America is, but the education reflects that and is quite poor, and also the teachers are poorly paid. But English and Filipino are both languages taught in public schools, and according to AlignsICare.com, they state the school year normally runs from June to March or April, and a typical school week is Monday to Friday, so kind of similar to how America has theirs set up. So the Filipino culture has impacted my life in numerous ways. My mother, being an immigrant, was the only person out of her 4 brothers and 3 sisters to come to America. I admire her work every single day and her determination to become a US citizen and create a life for me that combines both American culture and Filipino culture. When looking at traditions, I think one sticks out to me the most, and that is their love for karaoke. They take it so seriously, and somehow every single Filipino doesn't have a terrible voice, and it's weird. But my mom has been able to connect with so many Filipinos that have the same story as her. They're just immigrants who come from the Philippines, and they created this association where they practice these Filipino traditions and also use it as kind of like a fundraising thing to send money back home to their families, which I think is really admirable. These meetings would be held around the holidays, like for example, Christmas. There would be food, games, and dances that would showcase what life was like back home for them. What I have gathered is that Filipinos, maybe being a little biased, are very grateful for the opportunities that they have gained along the way from coming to America. And they're wanting to just share their wealth and happiness with everyone around them.